Good morning and welcome back to Saruwatari Xtreme. You're rolling with me in the Mercy, and today we're back with the Rotary God at FR Performance. My bro is going to show us two of his favorite vehicles, one being my favorite drag car and the second being his favorite street car that is very special and dear to his heart. And I think it'll surprise quite a few of you. So that being said, let's talk about my experiences on the track with Abel. In particular, the scariest moment I've ever had drag racing. And believe it or not, it is with the Rotary God. When we were racing, we were both invited to run at the Winter Nationals at Pomona. He was bringing the R100, and I brought the RX-7. Now, as most of you know, most drivers, when they go across the line, they shut down in fear of possibly running into something, crashing into somebody else. But the normal rules of society really don't apply to Abel, and for all of you that know him can justify that that is true. So, what basically came about is he decided that he was going to go for it no matter what. And that is the deal with Abel. He only knows one thing, and that is kill. And I know none of you will argue with me on that. So on the leave, Abel, of course, was out in front because the R100 was much faster than my RX-7. But he got way out of shape and crossed into my lane, sideways I might add. Now, most people would lift and shut down, as I did. And keep in mind, there was plenty of room, we weren't going to collide, but just the fact of seeing this little red car go sideways in front of me, then to add fuel to the fire, noticing that he is not lifting while going sideways. So he continued, crossed back into his lane, stayed on it, and continued the pass, where I just coasted in. And people commented, then HRA came to say, man, people just love those two crazy rotaries. And my comment was, no, there's one crazy rotary and one rotary that's sane. But that is what happened between the two of us. And that is the scariest moment I ever had on the track. And of course, it involves my bro. That's why we had that kindred spirit. And afterwards, I was like, man, that was frightening. Abel's famous last words, you'll be all right, man, you'll be fine. And to this day, every time I ask him anything that we're talking about, whether it be project cars, our wives, kids, don't worry, you'll be fine. It's just insanity. And then when you talk to him and you ask him, you know, explain what exactly he's saying, I'm just more confused. And I know all of you that know him know exactly what I'm talking about. But that is what makes Abel Abel. Now, let's take a look at these two awesome cars. Well, guys, we all have a dream. We all have the cars we always wanted. Some of us are lucky enough to get them, and some of them, they just get away. Even me, I'll say, Enzo, it's a dream. Maybe it'll happen, maybe not. But we'll kind of take it from there. So a cool thing is that in talking to Abel off camera, I was able to get some background on his dream. But it's better it comes from the man than me. Here we are again. How you doing, my man?
Good. How you doing, Adam?
Very good. Very good. And the story behind this car is so phenomenal, especially because I don't know if we're going to upset some of your rotary following, but the truth is the truth. So please, my man, inform us how this came about and the story behind the car.
So I graduated from high school in 1987.
What? 87?
87.
Oh my God.
So
wow.
In the area where I grew up in, there was a couple of these cars, you know, that people were driving. And man, the very first time I seen it and I heard about the turbo and this and that, it was like my high school dream car. But at the time they were so expensive, and me driving my little Capri and then I got my Mazda RX-2, there's no way I could afford this. So, you know, time went by, a couple of years went by, and then I started making some money like in 91, 92, and the very first chunk of big money that I got change, I'm like, I didn't go buy a house. I didn't go buy nothing. Guess what I went and bought? I went and found me a Grand National, and I was real particular. We actually, with my brother, we probably went and looked at around 20, 25 cars before I bought this one. So I bought this car in 92. I've had the car since 92.
That is friggin' incredible. Well, guys, see, we're like kindred spirits. We don't go buy houses and stuff when we get money, we just buy cars, which makes us probably a little bit on the insane side, but I love the Grand National. It's just such an iconic car, collector's item. Bro, I know you. Please tell us. I'm sure you've modified it. Do you want to go through and let us know what you did? I know already I can see these incredible HRE wheels, and as all of you know, I love wheels.
So it is highly modified now. I drove it stock for a while, but obviously, you know, I couldn't drive it stock forever. So I think in '94 we started modifying it. We did the simple bolt-on stuff: intercooler, injectors, chip. Then after that, we had to get the transmission rebuilt. Then after that, I put M&A hits, and then somewhere around '98, one of my brothers took it. They still won't admit which one. Took it and blew a head gasket. And that's at the time that I was real busy with racing and the career had taken off. So my poor car, believe it or not, sat for 20 years. Up until about 8 months ago, did I get it running back again. So about 7 or 8 years ago, I started saving up money, buying parts here and there, and I was working on a major power plant. It's still a 3.8, still it's got a factory motorsports block, but we fully built the motor to take, you know, over 1,000 horsepower, and we just been building on it, and I just wanted to have, not a race car, it's not by no means a race car, I can daily it, but I wanted to make sure that if another little Mazda on the street or a Honda came by, I wasn't going to get beat up by a Honda or another Mazda on the street. So I wanted to make sure I had enough horsepower so where my Grand National would hang on, you know, could hang.
You guys, you got to have priorities. That's why you got to love the man here.
Or some exotic car. I wasn't going to get taken out by no Lambo or the Ferrari. So I wanted to make sure I can take one of those out.
Come on, let's not go overboard.
Hey, maybe we can find out how if it really can take out a Lambo or a Ferrari soon.
We may have to do that, but friends, it has to be 103 in this hangar, and I can't even think straight. It is so friggin' hot. This man told me before I came down here that, don't worry, Adam, it'll be fine. I was like, bro, are you sure? Because the forecast is like 103. Nah, man, don't worry about that. Just get down here. And I'm down here, and honestly, guys, after this comes off, I'm pretty sure that my bro is gonna have to take me to the hospital for heat stroke. But we'll see how that goes. So let's just try and make it through, my man, and please run us through what you've done to this thing.
So one of the last things that we did that was pretty neat, if you come into here, since I started playing around with the Adaptronic computer so much on the Mazdas and all the street cars that I tuned, as you can see over there, I got a regular unit and I made a jumper harness for that every Buick sensor and everything would work with the stock Buick harness. Once we developed that, we contacted the folks at Adaptronic, and they were kind enough to work with us to develop Adaptronic plug and play, as you can see. So now we have a Grand National specific plug and play Adaptronic, bolts right into the stock harness, everything works, and you have an 87 car with all the features of modern technology: traction control, boost by gear, E85, flex fuel, all of that. So, you know, and you look at the car, it looks perfectly stock, but now we got the perfect computer to do all the tunability and everything we want to do on the car.
Man, that is amazing. All of you that ask about project cars, my number one choice, an adapter harness that allows you to keep the factory harness in position and then use whatever standalone engine manager you want. Honestly, in my opinion, that is the best way to go. So of course, the man would have figured out a way to do it. But let's see if he'll show us what else is great about this car.
So, you know, I can't leave nothing alone. Basically, you know, all the wiring harness and the vacuum lines that look like that, AC still works, everything works. So what we have here is a Buick Motorsports, what they call a stage 1 block. It's still a 3.8 liter, but it's a racing factory block like what they used in IndyCar or NASCAR at the time. We have M&A heads, aluminum heads that have been fully ported and polished. It's got a billet crank, billet rods, pistons. We had this special custom sheet metal manifold that Greg, well, he was still alive, built for us with the help of Duttweiler. We have a custom turbocharger, and it's on the 85. So in reality, once we turn it up, full street trim with pumpy 85, we should be able to make well over 900 to 1,000 horsepower to the wheels.
That is a problem for my supercars. So therefore, the wise decision is just stay away from this man. Anytime you see a Grand National, maybe not the greatest idea to run the challenge. But what I will tell you is that this car is phenomenal, just like all of Abel's cars. But I don't know if he'll tell us on camera, but he and I have had a lot of discussions lately about project cars because all of you have been asking me to do more project cars. And I kind of shy away. Now, after this was done and all the other cars, bro, do you have plans for another project car soon, or are you going to do something else, you think?
I have 2 more project cars that I have to get done, and really one's not a project. My RX-2 was already done, and I got on the Netflix show Fastest Car, and another driver took me out and trashed it crashed it. So I'm in the process of getting that done. I had to stop so I could get this fully done, because I haven't even dynoed this, because like, you know, everything has to work with everything. So when I got it running back again, I tried getting out on the street a little bit while I was doing the street drivability and tuning, and my transmission flared, which means it started to slip. So I had to wait and save up money to get a fully built transmission to handle the horsepower. Now that I have that, we're actually ready to go. I'm actually going to just put a couple of more miles on it, and we'll be able to dyno it, and then this one hopefully will be done. You know, it's got the wheels, it's got the brakes already, it's got everything. So this one will be done. I'll get next to be my RX2, finish that, get that back to normal the way it was before it got into the accident. And then one more car, which I have a 62 convertible Impala that's been painted since 1996 in my small trailer that I haven't been able to get to. I'll get to that last, and I think that's going to be the end of all my project cars for a while. I don't think I'll get into any more after that. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy or try to buy cars that are already come fast from the factory, like maybe, you know, the new Corvette or something of that nature, or the new Porsches. Because really the project cars, not only does it take a lot of money, but it's a lot of time, and I just don't, you know, we're not young anymore. I don't have the time and energy like I did before, you know. Now we've got to pay the bills, and to pay the bills you got to work, and you can't be working on your cars when you're not making any money. You got to work on customer cars.
Well, my friends, very valuable information from the man, and I think you know the theme here, what's going on. We're all just old. And beyond that, project cars are just a difficult deal. I've talked to Abel numerous nights, and he's not going to go into it, but this car too just seems to have endless problems. So all of you that think it's really easy by watching all those other YouTubers and comment about that, it's never easy. The 7, that's just how it is. It was always like that all along. There are some things that because it's old, but project cars in general are a lot of money and a lot of time. That's why you'll see the opinions of like Abel, even him, you could see where he's gravitating to. Not to talk down on it, but just to make you aware, because it just becomes another job. But in any case, my friend, we surely appreciate you showing us the Grand National. It is a phenomenal car. And one other thing I might mention to you guys is, obviously the rest of us are doing something wrong, because this guy just told us how old he is, and look at how phenomenal he looks. This is what good living will do, my friends. This is what bad living will do. But in any case, my friend, thank you again for showing us the Grand National.
No problem.
Well, for all of you that are statisticians, I have something for you. Today we're going to look at an iconic race car that, at least against me, is 6-0. So all of you that think that the 7 is so great, well, I got news for you. It got smashed every time it went up against this car. And to be honest with you, this is by far one of my favorite cars. As you know, I have a soft spot in my heart for originals. And it, of course, is Abel's R100. Just the best. Was the best, is the best in my opinion. But my opinion doesn't really matter. Let's hear from the man what he thinks. Back with you again, brother.
I got a little story to tell you on this one that a lot of people don't know, and I'll tell your viewers. This car originally was designed to be a street race car. We had a supercharged engine that was going to go in it, which we were running in my RX2 at Terminal Island. And then we got a little bit more serious, more framework, more chassis stuff, and like, okay, maybe we're gonna, you know, not race it on the street, but take it to the track. And one day I'm at the grocery store and I look at a magazine and I see this FD Turbo by some guy named Adam that runs 10s. I'm like, what? A Turbo RX-7, full body, going 10s? And then I asked somebody who this guy Adam was, and they're like, oh, you know, they're going to be actually at Pomona racing here, I think in a week or two. So I said, okay, let me go over there. So I go to Pomona, and lo and behold, who's there? You're there with your FD. You're racing, and I see you make a pass down the track, and you went like 10 something. And I'm like, wow, if that guy in that full body car is going 10s, I'm going to fly in my R100. So at that point in there, I decided no more supercharger. We're going with turbo. I called JC, because JC had been helping me at the time when they had AEM, and I said, you know what, we're going to can the supercharger, figure out everything we need to know about fuel injection and turbo, and that's what we're going to put in the R100. And he laughed, and he said, okay, I already know what we're going to go with fuel injection. And he got back to me the next week, and you know, one thing led to another, and that we're here now.
That, my friend, is a terrible story. And this is why, because that means that I also attributed to this craziness that this man does. And I really don't like that responsibility. But let's move on before any more ill feelings come about. My friend, that is crazy. And the craziest part is that I never knew that. That is just amazing, man. So all of you know now, the R100 would have been supercharged. But please, my friend, go through the car that's just iconic and pounded me in the ground more times than I can imagine.
Well, first of all, I want to thank Adaptronic and AEM, because this car had actually been in the corner at the museum, at dealerships, in the corner of my shop until about a year and a half ago, when they both approached me and said, hey, you know, we like for the car to come back out, maybe if you don't race it full time, but at least, you know, to show up to events once in a while. And I'm like, great. And they decided to come on board and help me get this thing going, along with Precision Turbo. So we put a new Adaptronic computer, got rid of the Motec, put the new stuff in there, put all the AEM components, AEM dash, got a new Precision Turbo and intercooler, and we started making some dyno pulls, and everything's going real good. We've made more power than we made before. We just got real busy with customer and shop cars, so we had to put it on the side, on the back burner, because the last thing we want is customers to think they're not important. You're working on the R100, why isn't my car done? So until we do catch up and finish some of those cars, we'll be back on this again. And probably it's going to have to wait now until we get with the important match race coming up with the RX-8. We're going to get the RX-8 going first, and then we'll be back on this to see if we can make a couple of hits, you know, a couple of times a year, just for our all our fans.
Bro, you're just first class, always about the fans. But through all that, did you guys hear that this car is actually coming out again? That's a possible plan? I'm sorry, my man, and this is all news to me. Are we possibly hearing that you might be trying to bring out another two-car team?
No, nothing like that. Nothing a two-car team. Maybe just as something as simple as go to Irwindale, you know, on a Thursday or Saturday night, do a couple of burnouts and launches, or to Fontana. You know, I don't plan on doing any traveling or nothing. Just to get it back out there for people to see it. You know, the good thing, the beauty about social media is now you don't have to go to New Jersey, you don't have to go to Florida, you don't have to go to Australia. You know, they can get on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube and see you make passes or burnout or whatever, and everybody gets to see. You know, it's at a point now where I don't want it to be a job. I want it, if I go out there, it's fun for me or for whoever's watching, and not make it a job. So that's why I would only cut it down to, you know, a couple of times a year, maybe once or twice. That would be it.
Don't despair, my friends. I've known this man for over 20 years. This is how it starts. This isn't how it ends. But please, my man, take us through the rest of the R100.
Like I said, right here we have all the new stuff we went to with the new intercooler, the new turbo. Inside, we got some pretty good, neat stuff. You know, when we were starting off, think about it. It was in the 90s, late 90s. You know, stuff has evolved a long ways. So we still have some cleanup to do. We're still cleaning up some of the wiring, but like example, we have now the AEM dash, which does GPS. We can get mile an hour, get all the stuff, all the sensors. We got EGTs, we got the ignition. We cleaned up, put the Adaptronic on there. So even though we're still haven't finished tidying up all the wire, because we want to make sure everything is working perfect, we don't have to add or take things off once we get dynoed and we're at the horsepower number we're shooting for. We're trying to shoot for 1,000 or over 1,000 to the wheels on gas, on race gas, not E85, not alcohol. I want to keep it simple in this car. If I have to switch fuels, that means I need another fuel pump, I need more fuel rails, I need more lines, and I'm just, like I said, I'm not trying to make a job out of it. I'm trying to keep it fun and as simple as possible, so when we go to the track, it's the least amount of maintenance. Get in, warm it up, make a pass, put it up, that's it. You know, you're not having to mess with everything. But, you know, you can't compare the new technology stuff to the old stuff that we had, and it's really great. Everything just works so much better.
Guys, that's firsthand from the pro. I don't know if you noticed, but one major reason I love the R100 is look at the AEM dash. Look very closely. So for those of you like myself that love Lambos, the R100 has a splash of Italian in it. Is that amazing or what? Now, it's no secret because I know this because JC told me as well. So for those of you that want to put an AEM dash as well, they can actually do the SV as well, which of course is close to my heart, as you all know. So we really appreciate all the information that Abel's passed on. This car, it'll just be amazing to see it out there again. Whether the 7 will get to run it again, I don't know, because it's just, again, another beatdown. But what the heck? It's the funnest beatdown I've ever had. My friend, the legend, please, thank you so much for showing us everything and giving us that insane history on the supercharger going to the turbo in the R100.
No problem.
Now, for all of you that are always asking me to choose which I like the most, this is for you. Bro, do us all a favor. The R100, the 8, which is your favorite?
To be honest with you, Adam, I mean, they both have a solid place in my heart. They're really not my favorites anymore. Maybe at the time when I was racing them and everything, whichever one I was racing at the current time was my favorite. Yes, the R100, everybody knows me because of this car and everything. But to be honest with you, what's my favorites now are like my Grand National or my RX2 or my Turbo 2. And the reason why is you get to interact with the cars. You get to do something with them. You can go to Cars and Coffee. You can go to a drive-thru. You can go to a car meet. You can go get a kill on the street, you know, against an exotic car or something.
Oh,
these cars, yeah, they're fun while you drive them, but look how long they've been sitting, Adam. Like this car's been at the museum, car dealerships, in a corner at the shop. You know, before, I'm not gonna lie to you, if something would have happened to the R100 or to the RX-8, I would have probably died. I would have had a heart attack and died. But now they've been so inactive for so long that if somebody was to come in here and steal them or something, I really wouldn't actually miss them. It'd be like, I haven't done anything with them so long and I don't know nothing on them. They're gone. It'd be that simple where they're gone. You know, it's not like something that you get to get out and enjoy, interact with all the time. Yeah, it's fun while you're at the track, but what people don't realize, as much fun as it is at the track, it's a lot of hard work also.
Man, thank you so much, bro. That's just firsthand information, and as you could see, like I always say, life just kind of moves on. We all still have priorities. In our hearts, we still love cars, but as we get older, and I think the rest of you will figure this out as well, time is the most valuable commodity. So on that note, we'll call it good, and I'll see you next time. I hope you enjoyed seeing Abel's cars as much as I did. Boy, man, what a walk down memory lane. And we're so appreciative that he always takes care of us. And on that happy note, have a great weekend. See you next time.